Hello and good morning to the amazing family. Welcome to the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. It is at 1:55 p.m. In Nairobi, and of course it is a little bit partly cloudy. So of course we are expecting some little bit of a down for just a few maybe minutes from now. But of course, nevertheless, as we always say, that doesn't get to hinder us from getting to enjoy an amazing show. My name is Calmie, and this is the Calmie African Diary Show. Remember, we get to interact every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday only on a Black Hot Fire Network. And of course, every Wednesday is when we do get to talk about history in terms of what happened in Africa, in terms of maybe also what got to happen in the diaspora. And of course, today, in terms of history, we are going to take a look at the founding fathers of a nation. It is good that the moment you get to Tembea Africa, you know, the hashtag has always been about hashtag Tembea Africa, hashtag Tembea Kenya. And of course, today, in terms of the founding fathers of the nation, we are going to take a look at in terms of the country. We are going to focus on Kenya as a country. But once more, karibuni sana to the Calmie African Diary Show. And remember to take that 1 second and get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can get to take a look at some of the videos that you might have missed. And still there, you can proceed and support the stream at Cash App, Mr. Black Hot Fire, and also you can get to donate at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And still, when you are logged in to the blackhotfirenetwork.com, you can proceed and get to enjoy some amazing music. There's also some amazing blogs that have been lined up for you. That is when you are still logged in to Black Hot Fire Network. And remember, I always say that the learning experience doesn't stop irrespective of the age. The learning experience, this is something that is always continuous. And I do trust that everyone is doing okay. You know, we are halfway, we're just actually halfway to the weekend, and this should be all about the more positive vibrations. I'm not saying that Mondays you shouldn't be having those positive vibrations. Remember, every day it is all about positive vibrations here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. And like I've said, we are halfway to the weekend. So of course, I do trust that if you had some goals that you wanted to achieve at the start of the week and still you haven't achieved them, trust me, still you have a today, tomorrow, and a Friday to achieve them. But as of course, nevertheless, if you do not get to achieve them, still you can get to achieve them some other time. The motto is do not get to give up. And moving on from that, I stumbled upon some amazing quotes on my way to work. And this was in terms of people continuously telling you that Oh, you need to work hard. You're not working hard. That is why you do not have a lot of money. You're not working hard. That is why you do not maybe have this and this. And this quote actually went ahead and said, to those who keep, constantly telling other people to work hard, and of course, them themselves, they do not get to work hard in the process, because for some people, they've either acquired that money, they have either acquired that fortune out of inheritance, and for some people, it has not been easy. They have been constantly working hard, but the results are not seen at the end of the day. And of course, this quote goes like this: if you say that working hard gets to pay, or rather, if you say that working hard gets to make you rich, then go ahead and show me a rich donkey. Let me repeat that. If you constantly, of course, keep saying that working hard, or rather hard work pays, then go ahead and show me a rich donkey. In Africa, it is very much common for you to see that donkeys, they are used in terms of in terms of getting to transport goods from one place to another, in terms of maybe in the rural setting, they get to transport a farm harvest, they get to transport water from the river, because in some places they do not have tapped water. But of course, nevertheless, when someone, not that I'm advocating for people to be lazy, but I'm just advocating for the fact that at some point, some people have really been working extremely hard, but only for them, to still remain stagnant in the same place. This is because doors are being shut. Because let's say if I go to a company and I am advocating for a job, and they end up giving someone who really doesn't have that talent that job, just because they went ahead and paid some money, or just because they do have connections. And suddenly enough, it has all about being connections, right? Suddenly enough, it has all been about connections. And before we even I get to proceed with the show, this time round, of course, we are almost approaching December, because we are on the 25th of November. Hail, hail. I must say that 2020 wasn't easy, but of course, we really need to appreciate ourselves, because we are halfway, that is, we are halfway coming to the end of the year. And it doesn't matter the losses that you did get to go through. What matters is how fast how fast we get to get up and of course get to make a change. And as we are almost approaching December, we do have an amazing gig that is almost coming up. And of course, the title of the gig is Sounds of Africa. This is just it is just actually an event, Sounds of Africa, whereby different celebrities, in terms of musicians, in terms of poets, I believe, different talents, we get to meet in Nairobi. And of course, they get to showcase their talent. So Sounds of Africa is about to come on the 12th of December, in the month, of course, of December. That is on the 12th of December. The year is still 2020. And of course, take by, because when that will get to come, we'll definitely get to show you what is popping in that area. Remember, you are tuned into the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century. And my name is Calmie. And of course, you are listening, that is in terms of the type of the show. It is in regards, it is of course in regards of the founding fathers of a nation, because I believe it is good. I believe it is good that I believe it is a good that we get to really focus. It is good for us to really focus on who really was behind the founding fathers of the nation. We do have the Kapenguria 6. We are also going to tell you that. Trust me, Kenya has a lot of of course, Kenya has a lot of amazing people, really, of course, who really stood up in terms of ensuring that we moved away from colonial, of course, from our colonial masters in a port. And of course, we are going to take a short break. And of course, I'll just love to share with you this short comic before this, of course, a short comic before we get to proceed with the show, in terms of dealing maybe with your mother-in-law. Because for some people, they've actually say that some mother-in-laws, they can actually really make it, they can actually ruin your day, they can actually get of course to make you feel like you are less of a human, you are less of how of course you are supposed to be. And trust me, perhaps you have done everything that is supposed to be done, but only for them, to come out and about and be like, maybe they get to overwork you, maybe they get, to make you feel like this is a really a note going on ahead. Of course, let's take a shorter break, and remember, you are tuning into the Black Hot Fire Network media for the 21st media for the 21st, of course, century. And let me just get this correct for the family before we get to take this short, of course, comic break, because life is too short for you to be always stressing. Life is too short for you to be always stressing yourselves with some other things, because in some place maybe you have really overworked, but only for you to realize that you are not appreciated. Let's get to enjoy this before we get to talk into serious matters on who was the founders of Kenya, who are the founders of Kenya. And of course, to those who are watching, to those who are still listening to the show, we really get to appreciate you. Let's take a short comic break, and when we come back, we'll get to dwell much into the story in terms of the founders of the nation, and of course the country. The country that we will be focusing on, it is Kenya itself.
Medusa and Melissa won't fetch your pizza. What kind of rubbish is this? But why did you change the channel? What rubbish is this? I don't know why you like the channel. I can go to the channel I like in my son's house. Yes, slap me! Slap me! Don't give me for that! I will bring your iPhone. Oh, shaka, oh, shaka,
That is just of course a short comical of course a break in terms of dealing with the mother-in-laws. Trust me, at some point the mother-in-laws can really be bullies. They can really ruin your day. They can, because as a son you definitely have to be always siding with your mom. So on most occasions, maybe your wife is out there, trying to tell you that I think I was with your mom, and I feel there are some types of things that she does to me which kind of make me feel uncomfortable, or there are some types of actions that she does to me which actually get to make me feel uncomfortable. And of course, as a son, you are torn in between pleasing your wife and pleasing your mother. But of course, sometime back we'll get to venture into that is dealing with mother-in-laws, and I believe we'll get to do that on the Voices of the Motherland show. Once more, my name is Calmie, and this is the Calmie African Diary Show, only on a Black Hot Fire Network. And of course, let's get to go direct to the founding fathers of the nation. For some people, if you get to walk around the streets of Nairobi and you ask someone, who was the founding father of Kenya? The first thing they'll tell you, it is Jomo Kenyatta. And the reason as to why they'll tell you it is Jomo Kenyatta, it is because he was the first president of Kenya. This is after Kenya attained its independence from, of course, the white, white colonizers in the year 1963. We did have Jomo Kenyatta leading the country, which is definitely correct to say that he was amongst the founding fathers of the nation. But also, people always forget to highlight some of the key people, some of the key individuals who really participated, in terms of freedom fighters. In terms of freedom fighters, I'm talking about the likes of Dedan Kimathi. Of course, he is the late now. A majority of these founding fathers of the nation, they lost their lives in the process. That is in the process of trying to fight for a better Kenya. Some of them, they got to live in the the white operation, getting out of Kenya. But of course, because they were fighting back then in the 90s, in the 18 something, during that duration. So of course, a majority of them, they have either died in the process, or they have died due to old age. And I can ascertain you that some individuals have been left out in terms of knowing who really was behind the founding fathers of the nation in terms of Kenya. We do have the Kapenguria 6, and Jomo Kenyatta was in the Kapenguria 6. I believe this is the time that this is the time that if I may use the terminology, all lights on him. This was the time that people get to know about him, because this was just a comparison of 6 individuals who are out there trying to air out the grievances of the Kenyans. And of course, in terms of that, we did have the Kapenguria 6. We also do have the freedom fighters. And a majority of these people, because they were being hunted down on a daily basis by the white man, because they were a threat. The white man didn't love the fact that he was in Africa. And some black people have realized their rights. Some black people have realized their freedom. Some black people have realized that these people are just out here to ruin us. And they wouldn't take it, lightly. And that is, it definitely gets to happen, because you as a master in court, you wouldn't want your servant in court, of course, to go ahead and challenge you. So that is why we did have a majority of the founding fathers of the nation relocating, or rather living in the jungle, because they were hiding for safety. And there was this famous place which was called the Kenyatta Cave. I'll also get to share that with you. We do have the Kenyatta Cave. This is whereby all the freedom fighters, of course. This is where all the freedom fighters, in terms of the likes of Dedan Kimathi, in terms of even different politicians, used to go there and hide. And the Kenyatta Caves, they were found in, or rather they are still relocated in the magical Taita Hills. Let me just share this with you, because this was the place whereby some of these fighters used to shelter there as one way, because they were running away, or rather they were hiding because the white man was on their case. Let me just share with you how this looks. And I can imagine how hectic this was, because right now I cannot imagine myself living during the colonial times. I cannot imagine myself living during the colonial times. In that 1 minute you are happy with your mom, 1 minute you are happy with your dad, with your family, and the next thing the white man has come. The white man is of course on your case, and he has come, and of course taking you and of course he has taken you by default, forcibly taken you by default, and as a result you have lost your family, you have lost your privilege growing up as a child. So this was the place whereby the Kenyatta Cave, in terms of the Kenyatta Caves, this was the place whereby the Mau Mau fighters, this was the place whereby different founders of the nation used, of course, to find shelter in. And of course, you can see beneath these caves, there are some skulls. I believe they belong to some of the individuals who are really, trying to fight for a better Kenya. And we have been talking about celebrating Mashujaa Day. But one thing that I can say, Mashujaa Day isn't really, the individuals who really go to fight in terms of the Mashujaa Day, they are not at all, they are not, of course, they are not appreciated. In terms of a compensation, we've had this case going on for a long time, whereby different African countries, they have taken their case to different European countries, depending on who their colonizers were, in terms of seeking compensation, for them to be compensated. And for some, they have been compensated. For the majority, they're still languishing in poverty, irrespective of the critical role that they got to play. Let me just share this video in terms of the founding fathers of the nation, and perhaps you can get to take a look at how it really was. This reminds me of the Kipande system. We did have the Kipande system in Kenya, whereby you were forced, to wear, a huge identification card on your shoulder, and this was one way of ensuring that you could easily maneuver around. But of course, you wouldn't easily maneuver around, because this was one way that the white man was using to mistreat Kenya. Sometime back we'll get to talk about of course sometimes we get to talk about the Kipande system in Kenya. But let me just say one thing: some of these freedom fighters, some of these politicians, they are still languishing in pain, because there isn't no one out there who is doing their best to ensure that they get to be compensated. Their families still haven't known peace ever since, because some families, they are still haunted because of the secrets that they do know in terms of in terms of what their fathers were doing. Let me just get to share this in terms of the Mau Mau actually, and we are going to take a look at one general. Of course, there is the general. Mariama, let's just get to take a look at this, because he also got to play a role. He also got to play a role in terms of founding Kenya. Let me just share this with the family as we get to proceed with the show. Remember, you can give your sentiments and views in terms of the show, and as Collins Karibu Sana, you say the hujambo to you too, and I do trust that you are doing okay. And of course, remember the topic of the day, it is in terms of the founding fathers of the nation, and the nation of interest today, it is Kenya. That is the country that we are talking about. Let me just proceed and get to share some of these. Of course, a video, but of course, I'm going to share with one general fighter, and this is General Mariama. They worked hand in hand with Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. You can see him here. And, as a result, I can just say that I think Jomo Kenyatta is the only person who got to benefit a lot from this. This is because he was the president some time back in the country. And later on, we get to see that the Kenyatta family is still thriving in wealth. But if you get to take a look at some of the founding fathers of the nation, some of them, they are languishing in pain. And we also do have the likes of of course, Odinga, that is Jaramogi Odinga. But let me just proceed and share this such that you can see what was happening in the country.
Quel est son nom? Son nom, c'est le général Maui Yama.
He said, whatever his father, which is me.
Il dit son père, c'est moi, tout simplement. Il fera ce que je lui demanderai. Quand l'avez-vous rencontré pour la première fois? Je ne l'ai jamais vu jusqu'ici.
I can't even recognize him. And you see, I gave him 2 small flags and he was very happy about it.
Je lui ai donné 2 petits drapeaux et il est très content avec ça. Je vais vous montrer. Les voilà.
Prime Minister, can you explain why he wears his hair like that?
Monsieur le Premier ministre, pouvez-vous expliquer pourquoi il garde les cheveux comme ça?
He wanted me to bless them. And assure him that is his Kenya flag.
Il veut que je bénisse ses drapeaux d'abord. Et pourquoi a-t-il les cheveux aussi longs?
They drive this from biblical.
Of course, back then there were issues with the language barriers. Some people didn't familiarize themselves with English. English wasn't a national language back then. So of course, this General Mariama, of course, he gets to converse more in Kikuyu. But of course, you kind of get to hear that he was with the founding father of the nation. He was with the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And I think General Mariama at some point he really got to be his head really got to be messed up with some time back, because I can imagine that the situation that these Mau fighters are going through. 1 minute you are okay, the next minute you are fighting with the Muzungu, you are in the bush. The situation, the conditions as to which you are living, they are quite disturbing. But of course, like I'm telling you, is that the fact that some people have really not gotten to be compensated in terms of even health-wise, in terms of even, being allocated, a portion of land, a portion of something by the same government that they did get to fight for. And that is why we do have even some of the children of these freedom fighters are still complaining that things are still not okay with them. And some of them, they have stepped in their father's shoes and they have gone ahead and continued with, fighting for a better Kenya. And the word Mau Mau, actually the word Mau Mau it is just some abbreviations, which means Mzungu aende Ulaya, Mwafrika apate uhuru. Let me just repeat that. Mau Mau, the words of course are on the screen. Let me just highlight that with the cursor. These two of course abbreviations. They are standing for the fact that Mzungu aende Ulaya, Mwafrika apate uhuru. And this was a General Mariama, and like I've told you, some children went ahead understood in their fathers, maybe they started working in their fathers' shadows in trying to bring a better Kenya. Some of these kids, they are still alive. Some of them, they have lost their lives in the process because they have been considered a threat. There's no one out here who would want the people to be highlighted on some of the facts, for people to be highlighted on some of the things in terms of Africa, in terms of the freedom and the betterness of a better day. Let me just proceed with the video.
Parce qu'il se réfère à la Bible. Samson était fort grâce à sa chevelure. Lui aussi.
And they think that this is a sign of, and they got their strength. And if they cut their hair, their strength might run away as a run from Samson.
Could you ask him, finally, if he is surprised?
Pouvez-vous lui demander s'il est étonné qu'il reste autant d'hommes blancs dans le Kenya indépendant?
He said, we have now our flag.
Il dit, nous avons maintenant notre drapeau,
But we have no
et puis il n'y a que ça qui compte.
with them because we have our
Tout le reste, ça n'a pas d'importance. Seuls nos drapeaux comptent.
Anyway, this is just a brief of what was happening during the colonial time. This is just a brief of what was happening in terms of the freedom fighters of the country, in terms of the founders of the country, because some of these people actually they did go out of the way and ensure that we do have a better Kenya. And remember, guys, you are tuning to the Calmie African Diary Show only on Black Hot Fire Nation. On the Black Hot Fire Network. I'm just so glued with the founding fathers of the nation. Remember, you are tuning to Black Hot Fire Network, a media for the 21st century, and you can get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can proceed and get to like and share some of the videos that you have watched, and you can also get to support the stream at Cash App, Mr. Black Hot Fire. And also you can get to donate. You can also get to donate to the show. That is at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Keep it, of course, a Black Hot Fire Network. And remember, on the Wednesday, it is when we get to dwell much on the histories, of course, of different African countries, of different communities. Because if I tell you one thing, the learning experience doesn't get to end any day, anytime. The learning experience, it is something that you get to pass on to your kids, to the other generation, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the information. Because sometimes they say that this information might be altered, and that is why we do have a social media, because the social media gets to play a huge role in terms of preserving the history of a nation. And before we even get to continue with the show and get to take a look at some of the founding fathers of the nation. And remember, the country of interest today, it is Kenya, and we say Kenya nchi yangu. Let me just teach you one Swahili word. Kenya ni nchi yangu. Perhaps you might be in Tanzania, you might be in Uganda. You get to say Uganda ni nchi yangu, irrespective of the country that you are in. Just to say that ni nchi yangu basically means it is my country. That is why we do get to celebrate some of these freedom fighters. That is why we do get to celebrate some of these politicians, as much as some of them have never been compensated. People just get to know them by their words. Or some of them have seen some of their statues in Nairobi, the likes of Dedan Kimathi. Some of them have been named after streets. For example, we do have streets like the Tom Mboya streets. We do have streets like the Wangari Maathai street in Nairobi. Wangari Maathai was also, I believe, she played a role in terms of ensuring that we did have a better Kenya, but only she did get to focus on the issue of deforestation, and really get to hail her, because some time back before her death, because she did get to succumb to cervical cancer, rest in peace to her. Sometimes back she had won the Nobel Peace Prize, which is quite an amazing thing, of course, to earn. And of course, like I've told you, some of these streets they have been named after these, individuals who did get to fight for a better Kenya. And that is why we get to hail them on a daily basis. That is why we get to understand. That is why we do get to appreciate and learn them on a daily basis. And let's moving on still on some of the founding fathers, because let me tell you, this is a list that if I started talking about this topic, I wouldn't even be able to finish this. We do have the Kapenguria 6. And the Kapenguria 6, these are the people who are arrested from time to time, harassed, and I'm talking about the duration of the year 1952. 1952, I believe some of you were not even born. And the Kapenguria 6, they really played a huge role. And before I even get to highlight who they were, they are living in poor states in terms of their houses. These are the people who really ensured that as much as they were arrested, as much as they were beaten on a daily basis, that they didn't go silent, that they didn't stop fighting. But if you take a look at some of the places whereby they are living, you wouldn't say that these people played a huge role. In some countries, if you really got to do something for your country, you are compensated, because they say that, if you get to be that patriotic to your country, there's a form of compensation, because you went out of your way, you went out of your comfort to ensure that the future generation is not left behind. So just to name, the Kapenguria 6 comprised of the likes of Bildad Kagia. We do have Kungu Karumba. We do have Jomo Kenyatta. And I believe a majority of these, they have died. We do have Fred Kubai, Paul Angei, and Achieng Oneko. They were actually 6. And they were the nationalists who were arrested in 1952. And sometime after their arrest, they were tried at Kapenguria in 1952 to the period of 1953. And some of them, they went ahead and they were imprisoned in northern Kenya just because they didn't have someone to stand up for them and say that, we shouldn't be arresting these people. Because these people, they were fighting for a better Kenya. These are some of the people who played a key role in ensuring that Kenya is Kenya right now. And earlier on, I had told you that the Kapenguria 6, of course, they used some of them. They used to live in the Kenyatta caves, because this was a place whereby they used, to hide from being found by the white man. This was a place whereby they used, to maybe have also their discussions. Sorry. And like I've told you, this topic about this topic about the Kapenguria 6, this topic about the founding fathers of the nation. Even if I wanted to finish it in a day, I wouldn't finish it, because we do have different people who played a key role. And in terms of the founding fathers of the nation, I'm just not talking about the president, the first president of the country, that is Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. But rather, I am hailing the men who got out of their way and decided enough was enough. Enough was enough. They really have to do something for the country. And as much as I have highlighted on the Kapenguria 6, trust me, there are also some other people who played a very big role in terms of, maybe related to the Kapenguria, but some of them, they have not been highlighted by the social media. Maybe some of them died in the process. Maybe some of them were, of course, killed in the process. And as a result, you didn't get to hail them. But rest in peace to all these men, the Mau Mau fighters, that is the freedom fighters, who got out of their way to release Kenya from the white man's oppression. And as we get to continue, let me just share with you a short video such that you can see whom I am talking about. In terms of the Kapinguri 6, let me just get to show you this so that you can see that whom I am talking about. And just, of course, and just to remind you is that every African country, or rather every European country, we do have, every European country, or rather every other African country that is in terms of colonizers, we do have a history on some of the people who played a key role in ensuring that we did have a peaceful Kenya. Samuel, Karibu Sana, you've said, hey, Calmie, hey to you too at Samuel. I do trust that you are doing okay. And remember the topic of the day, it is the founding fathers. And this goes hand in hand to all those people who played a key role in ensuring that you do have a better Kenya right now. As much as Kenya still, we are, battling the issue with corruption. We are battling the issue with the embezzlement of funds, the issue with the extrajudicial killings. We still have to fight for a better Kenya. Let me just get to share with you this video, and so we get to appreciate some of these men as much as they have not been appreciated, as much as they have not been appreciated still now by some of these leaders. Let me just proceed and share this.
Is the app that gives you anything you want, and here's why people choose it.
Any food you can think of is on this app. Chicken, burger, local food, you name it.
I'd say any red.
Nguvu ya pesa katika kuzalisha roho za kinyama na habari za Kapinguri ya 6. Mwandaji ni Dennis Mpagaze. Mimi ni Ananias Edgar. Wahenga waliposema pesa inaweza kuhamisha milima, niliamini siku ilivyohamishia gerezani wazalendo 6: Jomo Kenyatta, Bildad Kagia, Kung Karumba, Fredi Kubai, Paul Ngei na Achieng' Oneko Kenya. Walitupwa gereza la Kapenguria na kuitwa Kapenguria 6. Washikaji,
let me just get to of course, explain this. Let me just get to be your translator because I couldn't just get a better video. But this is in relation to what did get to transpire in Kenya in terms of the founding phases of Kenya. But let me just try this other video such that you can get to understand in English, because this one is in Swahili. But some of these people, like I've told you, some of them, they have been highlighted by the mainstream media. Some of them, they are of course still in that they have not even been highlighted. Their family is still, languishing in pain. Their family has never been compensated. The roles that they did get to play have never been compensated. Let's get to take a look at this video at the faces of course, of Africa. And this is the founding father of Kenya. But I really don't want to focus on Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, because we do have, of course, other people who played a key role in ensuring. We do have other people who did get to play a key role in ensuring that Kenya was a better place, in ensuring that the kids over today in Kenya, in ensuring that the kids of today in Kenya, they do get to have a chance to live for a better Kenya. This is how it was back then.
By the end of World War II, several
All right, so here we go.
Kenyans who had been conscripted into the King's African Rifles to fight for the British colonial army returned home with a much-needed experience in combat and warfare. Experience that will later go a long way in shaping the country's struggle for self-rule.
The one who is talking is actually the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and I believe much highlight has been given to him because at some point he got to rule Kenya. But then again, if I may ask, why is it that some of these freedom fighters who are arrested, some of these freedom fighters who are detained, Where did they actually go? Because rumor has it that some of these freedom fighters, they were either killed in the process when they were detained. But the question is, why is it that some of them still got to get out and still got to have even higher chances in the office? And of course, if you know that is just a read in between the lines, because I can say that for some of these, they were either favored. For some of them, maybe because they refused the favor, they lost their lives in the process. But that is the voice of the one and only Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and he's just highlighting Kenyans that it is high time that we get to fight for our freedom. Let me just proceed with sharing the video.
What we have been struggling for is to redeem our country from the yoke of colonialism.
Motivated by the experience they had gained, the Kenyan war veterans mobilized themselves to fight the British who declared the East African Protectorate their colony back in 1920. But the long journey to freedom was a tough one. Images that still continue to burn bright in the minds of Kenyans. The lowering of the Union Jack and the hoisting of the black, red, white and green, the Kenyan flag, for the first time sparking off wild celebrations. Though it will forever be etched in the minds of Kenyans for years to come,
We want to rule our country.
some parts of the country's history seem to have evaded many. A crucial part of that, perhaps where the country was birthed. Deep in the hills of Taita Taveta. Welcome to the Kenyatta Caves.
Sasa hapa ndio headquarter ya kupigania uhuru wa Kenya.
Just to explain what the guy has said, these are just the headquarters of where people used to fight for the freedom of Kenya. And this is the Kenyatta Caves, whereby they used to get to meet there for meetings. This is the caves whereby they used to decide on the way forward. This is the caves whereby they thought it was safer for them, because at some point, some of them, they were hunted by the white man.
They might appear as geographical formations, mere rocks standing tall in this vast hilly region. But a closer look, however, one reveals something quite humbling and special.
Mungu bwana alipata shida sana Kenyatta. Kulala kwa tangu, kuna nyoka, kuna hii manguzi hizi wadudu wanakaa kwa mapango.
Just to explain on that is that the guy is highlighting on the fact that of course, this one he is relating to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, that he really did go through a lot in ensuring that he did get, that we did get our freedom. But this is, of course, goes hand in hand with Jomo Kenyatta and also other freedom fighters who were with him, because back then some weather conditions didn't really get to go hand in hand with them. There is the issue of a weather condition. There is the issue of wild animals. You can imagine. This is in 1956, so there were a lot of bushes everywhere. The issue of wild animals was on the rise. So you are risking your life, that is fighting for a better Kenya. Also, you are risking being a meal for these wild animals. Let's just proceed and I'll get to explain more.
Wanted by the colonial government, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta is believed to have sought refuge here in 1948. He was received and hosted by other freedom fighters from Taita Taveta, among them the late Mzee Zephania Mwakio. And for close to 5 years, the country's founding president called this home, sleeping inside this cave, while others nearby served as makeshift boardrooms where it is believed he held meetings with Tanzania's then Tanganyika's Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere.
Wow. So you can see it was a revolution. It was a it was a wake up, a call for different African countries. We do have the late Julius, of course, Kabarange Nyerere, who was, of course, from Tanzania. And let me tell you one legacy in terms of leaders. Kabarange Nyerere did play a vital role in Tanzania. That's why you get to see that when you get to go to Tanzania, you get to realize that most homes, there's this way that it came about in that the umoja. Umoja is just a meaning being one, whereby you don't get to fence your home, you get to share that a piece of land. There's no border in between. You get to to till your land together, and that is why sometimes in Tanzania, there was a time whereby the Tanzanians would go out there, get to clean the country together, get to till, maybe have one another till land. And this goes all the way to 1948. And let me tell you one thing, and that is why sometimes I'm just, get to understand, like, yo, these guys, they really went through hell. As much as I get to see them that they do have a lot of money and things like that, they went through some type of hell. But sadly enough, some of them were bought by the white man. As much as they were fighting for a better, maybe in terms of the different countries, some of them, they were bought by the white man.
As well as Uganda's Apollo Milton Obote, as the push for independence gained momentum in East Africa.
Nyerere alifurahi sana, maana yale ambayo aliyapata ndiyo alienda kutumia upande ule, ndio ukaona Tanzania imepata uhuru haraka, lakini manufaa yote alipata kutoka kwa Kenyatta. Kizungu cha Kenyatta kilikuwa kinatoka na pua, maana ule mzee kwa kizungu ni hatari.
Charles Mlekenyi, the son of a freedom fighter and caretaker of the Kino, now known as.
And of course, the man, of course, that is being interviewed, he was also the son of a freedom fighter. And one thing about being a child of a freedom fighter, you get to learn a lot. You get to see what your dad was doing. You get to see what your parents were doing, and you get to, of course, continue with that, or you get to educate other people. And that is why they say that in Swahili we say that traditions they get, of course, to go from one generation to another. And on the video, he is talking about the fact that Julius Kabarange Nyerere used the information that was given to him by, of course, the later also Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And that is why we get to see that Tanzania got to get its freedom earlier, because this was just a people, this was just before they were even leaders, they were just a men who stood out of their way to ensure that enough is enough with what is happening in our country. We need to chase these people away. We cannot be fighting, we cannot be suffering on a daily basis. Well, they are enjoying our resources. While they are killing our wives, women, and the children. Sorry, of course, and children and even men. The way they just feel like. They found us happily, they found us safe, they found us running things our own way. But since they stepped foot in our country, since they realized that there is an existence of Africa, they wanted to take it for themselves. They wanted to ensure that they got to benefit, while the Africans got to just enjoy the peanuts, if I may use that.
As the Kenyatta Caves also tells me that Mau Mau freedom fighters regularly took their oath under this tree, breaking the yoke of colonialism, now a possibility.
Maisha hapa walikuwa wanabeba viapo, kila district walibeba viapo vyao, na hivyo viapo walibeba vilichanganywa na chakula, na mama yangu walivichanganya.
This is just in regards to actually this also gets to happen with the different rebel groups, in that you have to take an oath for you to be in that group. You have to take an oath to say that irrespective of what is done to you, you are not going to betray the whereabouts of your friends, the whereabouts of those whom you are fighting with. That is why a majority of them died heroes, because they didn't go ahead and let me just use the word, they didn't get to snitch some of their friends. And you can see that in terms of taking that on, some of them, they were made, some of course some cuttings were made on their skin, some mixtures of different foods and ingredients were mixed for them to take as one way of ensuring that they wouldn't go out there and snitch on their friends.
awapikie ili roho zao ziwe ngumu na wawe na umoja.
Though colonial officers got wind that Kenyatta was hiding in one of those caves, the fugitive had devised ways of sheltering them from the impending danger.
Lakini wakati wanaingia waona,
You know, this video is disturbing. How the white man was treating the black man. I mean, you just can't come to my house, to my home, treat me the way you want, and you expect me to be your slave. You expect me not to react. Excuse me. I have every right to fight and tell me and show my children that daddy is strong. I have to fight and show my children that mommy is capable of protecting you. So you can imagine, you can take a look from the video. And of course, we are not seeing the bad, even the evil part that was done to them, because I believe that will even be more traumatizing. But I can ascertain that a majority of these individuals in this video, they are dead. Or if they are alive, they are mentally challenged because of what they were going through. And in relation to the video, they had someone had snitched that Kenyatta was hiding in one of these caves, in one of these huts, and that is where you can see the way they are being mistreated, the way they're being manhandled. You come to my country, you've killed more of my family, you've killed more of my people, and you still want me to be a coward? I really want to hail, I really want to take this opportunity and hail all the freedom fighters in terms of the roles that they did get to play to ensure that right now in Kenya, you can't stand and say, you are banned from my country. You can't stand and say that this isn't correct.
wakishatoka dakika moja ya pili, wajua wao kama anakuja milioni na sense. Kuna bia anakuja, anatoka. Wakitoka tu maskara anaingia.
Though Kenyatta was eventually arrested and later imprisoned for 9 years, his release in 1961 brought the country together. Love, peace, and unity. Values that are worth emulating today as the country's.
This is quite touching. I can't imagine how life was back then, in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s, in the 20s, in short, the 19th century, the 18th century. Life must have been quite hectic. You do not have your freedom of expression. You try to do something good for your family. You try to ensure that your family is well taken care of. You try to ensure that peace is dominating. But it has to come with a price. So, of course, congratulations once more to all in terms of Kapingure 6 and all those who didn't quite make it, because you've seen the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was, of course, he did get to spend 9 years in prison. So you can imagine what the type of torture the Kapingure 6 and other freedom fighters did get to go through.
Celebrates its 54th birthday. His humble bed made of wood and hide, the famous fly whisk, a sewing machine, and even his iron comb can still be found here.
From 1948 to 1952, the now famous Jomo Kenyatta Caves played host to the country's founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. The caves now serving as a reminder of the country's struggle against British colonial rule. Shukri Wachu, K20.
Anyway, that is just an amazing thing that I got to learn there. I do trust that you have learned a thing or two in terms of freedom. I believe you have learned a thing or two in terms of freedom, and wow, actually my heart has been quite warm. And like I've told you, it really takes you to be that bold for you to ensure that you, because for example, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, they had their families. So you can imagine that the children are scared, the children of the freedom fighters, the children of the Kapingure 6, just the Mau Mau fighters, how they used to be scared that daddy might come home or daddy might not even come home. And I see at General Mosquito, good morning, and you have said, yes, they were bought by the white child. Okay, let me read this correct. Yes, they were bought by the white child. I believe this is in relation to the fact that why is it that some of these freedom fighters, they managed to leave, and when they were released, They come back and had more money. They come back and had more power. They came back and they were able, everything was just at their snap. And some of the freedom fighters, we do not know where they went. So as much as we get to hail some of these founding fathers of the nation, there's that lingering question in the air. Where did some of the survivors go to? Some of them have been hailed. Some of them, like I had earlier on, I told you, we even do not know of their existence. Of course, like I've told you, I agree with you, General Mosquito. Some of this, they have been bought. And of course, someone you said, all right, I do believe it was in relation to me saying hi to you. And we are almost coming to the end of the show. But I can ascertain you one thing. As much as we have been battling, or rather as much as we have been talking about freedom, it does come with a price. You either will sacrifice your life, you either will sacrifice the place where you are sleeping, the type of food, the type of comfort you are getting. And your effort will get rewarded, or you will still do the same, only for you to come back and be killed by your captors. So like I told you, this is food for the thought, of course. Reading between the lines, why is it that some of these are freedom fighters, maybe some of them, they are still alive, or some of them, they were highly compensated. And till now, they do have billions to their names. And the same freedom fighters, they do not really have something to their name, or some of them, they really died a painful death. So what I'm thinking is that someone might have snitched. Someone might have really, been bought. Understand that. And like I've told you, I love my life. I love everything about myself. But let me tell you, this is just a food for thought. You can get, of course, to dig more information on that. But I don't think anyone is dumb here not to see what was happening. But once again, hail to the freedom fighters, because we really appreciate the role. We really appreciate the task that they did get to do in terms of ensuring that we did have a better Kenya. And of course, Kenya isn't that better. Okay, it is better as opposed to the 18th century, the 17th century, the 19th century. Some things have changed, but I can still say that, yes, freedom was fought for. We did fight for a better Kenya, but still, there are some things. We still do have some of these puppet leaders. I have really, really enjoyed interacting with the family. I have really enjoyed tackling this issue of the founding fathers of the nation. And that is why I keep telling you that every day it is a learning experience for you. Education doesn't have a limitation. Education doesn't get to end at a certain period of time. It is all about how you really get, to continue that. It is all about how you get, to ensure that you get to dig more information. Don't be just those type of people, just they are just existing. You just want every information, being fed to you. But sometimes get to really dig in the existence of some things in terms of, maybe it could be a company, it could be some things, because some of these people, they either backstabbed others, and they really got to have that. And of course, one thing that I want to highlight is that always ensure that you are staying safe. And I want to appreciate Takit for providing this platform whereby we do get to learn, because every day it is a learning experience for us. Takit, much hail to you and respect to you, because you have actually made me, for example, to be on the limelight in terms of some of the do's and some of the don'ts in the society. Don't be just that type of person whom you just get to be easily wallowed by what is being given to you, maybe by the mainstream media. I really appreciate, of course, Collins Ashoya for joining me, and you had earlier on said Hujambo. Much peace and love, of course, to Samuel, and also General Mosquito. To all those who are also watching the show, we really appreciate you, because it wouldn't have been successful if you didn't get to tune in to the show. And of course, until next time, because we do have other shows that will be coming right a few minutes from now. My name is Calmie, and this has been the Calmie African Diary Show. Remember, we always interact every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday only on Black Hot Fire Network. And remember to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can take a look at some of the episodes that you might have missed. You can also proceed and take a look at some of the amazing music, at some of the blogs that do get to play right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. Last but not least, you can proceed and donate at that is at www.Black Hot Fire Network, and of course you can support the stream as a Cash App Mr. Black Hot Fire Network. Much peace and love, and kwaheri, tutaonana baadaye katika kipindi kifuatacho. And I really once more want to give a shout out to everyone who did get to tune in to the show. Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. Kwaheri na tutaonana katika kipindi kifuatacho.